Hello. Uh, Welcome to Real Talk. Real Talk is just a little thing I'm gonna be doing for the next couple movies I see, like a movie review sort of thing, and maybe like how I want to see the future of any franchises go. Today we're gonna be covering the Unfriended series. Last night I saw Unfriended Dark Web, and earlier yesterday I saw the first one, so I would be ready for the second one, of course, and you know, uh, Well, I understand that most people would think the concept is kind of dumb, just uh, Skype call gone wrong, spooky paranoia shit. I do appreciate that they try to have story arcs in both movies to complicate things between the characters and make an issue, like for there to be conflict between them. I appreciate that. They did a good job. More in the second one than the first, but today I'm going to be covering primarily the first one, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the second one, and then I'm going to speak on where I want the series to go in the future. For those who care, welcome aboard. No spoilers for the second one, or rather, very limited. I will put up a spoiler sign when we get to the spoilers. But other than that, it's pretty much just me covering the first one, a little bit about the second one, and where I see the future of the series going, if they have one, after the second one. For those who haven't seen Unfriended, the first one is about a group of friends are on Skype, and they have a Skype call, the anniversary, like 1 or 2 year anniversary of the suicide of one of their friends or just acquaintances, Laura Burns, whatever. As they go through their call, progressively it gets worse and worse because the ghost, the spirit of Laura Burns, possesses them, and one after another they slowly get killed. I won't spoil anything. I will spoil anything. I appreciated how the first one, how the movie tried to throw in plot or just like story parts to turn the characters against each other and to make them think that it's maybe not a supernatural thing, but just someone messing with the other ones, this, that, and the other. And while some of it was a little like dull and just kind of silly, I can appreciate how the first one was implementing more supernatural parts. Now, for those who don't know, the second one is different from the first one because it's about the dark web comparative. The second one is about the dark web and it's about hackers and all that, whereas the first is more of a supernatural ghost spirit possessing people to commit suicide and kill themselves. And while the premise is it's original in a sense that it's supernaturally done, and I think I appreciate the second one more for being more based off of real life things that can happen. I'm not saying that suicide can't happen. I'm just saying that in the sequel, kidnappings through hackings, that stuff does happen, and it's awful, it's terrible. But just real quick, we're gonna talk about the ending for the first one because that ties into the later segment of the video. So by the end of the first one, all the characters are dead. There's the main female character, her boyfriend, and all her friends. And by the end of the movie, they're all dead. But if I remember correctly, at the end of the first one, the main female character has her computer slammed shut, and the ghost jumps out at her. That's what I remember. And like I said, I just saw this movie, the first one, yesterday as well. So, because I didn't see any death, I came to the conclusion, or rather, I am coming to the conclusion that I don't think she is dead. I think maybe she survived, and yes, I know that she is most likely to be the one that is dead, because she was, spoiler, the one that put the footage online that made Laura Burns kill herself. I understand that. But I would like to believe that she is still alive, because this ties into where I think the future of the series may go if they continue it. Now, in the sequel, like I said before, the sequel is primarily about the dark web, and it's not as supernatural possessed sort of thing. So it feels scarier because it's more realistic. I'm not saying, for those who believe in ghosts, I'm not saying that belief in ghosts is not right or anything. You do you. I'm just saying that because it's real and like hackings and kidnappings do happen, to me it's scarier. To me it's more horrifying, and because it's more likely to happen to just anyone really, that's what makes it scary to me. Now while I was in the theater, I didn't really like look away that much because I'm intrigued by like deaths in horror movies. It's a great way to kill someone. It's amazing. I'm not gonna spoil too much except the ending, but there's a cliche with where you implement a deaf character, where it's this thing where if there's someone who lives with them, they can get tortured or killed or kidnapped or anything like that, without the kidnapper having to worry about anything because there's a deaf character. I feel like that's a cliche that they probably could have left alone, but that's one of the few things I have wrong with this movie. Other than that, I think the main character, Matthias, Matias, I think, Matthias, if that's how you pronounce it, I think he has good intentions. He is a character that I can appreciate because despite him having his flaws, by taking the laptop that has all these files on them, which is a spoiler, sorry, and although he is not good at signing, he does try to sign. He's really trying to do everything to be with his girlfriend, and I can appreciate that, and I can respect that as a character. The other characters are actually interesting as well. The one sort of conspiracy theorist, he's fun to listen to and watch, and the lesbian couple, I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with lesbians, they're interesting as well due to their contradicting views on how this issue, how everything's happening. Because it has to do with hacking and hackers and being tracked down and kidnapped, that makes the murders feel more real, like I said before, thus more terrifying. So when, spoiler alert, when this conspiracy theorist guy, when he dies, the way it happens, it feels more real because these things like happen all the time. Like when people get swatted, or like when someone purposely goes out of the way to call the SWAT team on someone else for no good reason, like they're not actually causing any harm, and then they get harmed. That happens. Those things are real. So seeing it and actually seeing it as a death on the screen, it feels more real, like I said, and thus to me, it scares me more. Now, quickly, I'm going to talk about the ending of the movie. So, if you want to see it, I'll leave up a timestamp for when you can come back. So, just real quick, let's talk about it. So, Unfriended Dark Web. I think it was better than the first one. Again, because it's more real and it happened. But also, the characters feel more interesting to me. And the plot plays out better. Because ties to what the villain is. Thus, the villain can just be as heartless as anything, and thus the characters have no way of knowing who it is or how to stop them. And that's something that makes it interesting. Now, for the ending, Matthias, who's the main character, he was supposed to have a trade out with one of the hacker characters who originally had this laptop that he took. Now Matthias he's on his bike and he's going to meet up with his girlfriend, a definitely girl, at the place where they first met. And here he finds a grave with a coffin in it. And he thinks that she's already there, and then he gets bonked over the head with the shovel, thrown into the coffin. This is where this is actually one of the scarier kills for me. Spoiler alert. Matthias is put in the coffin, buried on the ground, and then when his girlfriend arrives, it's all fixed, the ground looks fine again. And he calls her, and whereas normally she would talk and she would read his lips because he sort of had the signing, that can't happen this time. He can't get to her because she's there. She's above him. She's standing on where the coffin would be. But because the hackers are hacking the phone and putting a blur over his mouth, she can't read his lips, and thus he's trying to get her to help him, like to dig under where she's standing to get to him. It just won't happen. And he tries texting, but of course the hackers changed what he's texting to say. I wish I was better at signing, and he's trying to just like, I'm under you, send help, this, that, and the other, but it all changes to, like, I'm sorry, I wish I was better at signing, this, that, and the other. And it ends with a pan out, and it shows like some hacker people denap themselves onto the cams of all the people that we saw die in this movie. And it pans out to one guy with some glasses and a beard, and he's watching this happen. And this ties it more into the dark web thing. But to me, this ending feels like it's supposed to hint at the future of this franchise. So that's done spoiler talk. Now I'm going to talk about the future of the series. The first movie was, of course, more of a paranormal supernatural thing, and its sequels were more real life. I want, or I think, that this third one, if they make one, should probably dive more into either merging the two, or maybe it'll do something else. Now I'm going to talk about the latter, doing something else, and how I think that it's less likely. So in the first one, it was more about a Facebook sort of haunting, and this one was more about just like files and finding dark web stuff, and being kidnapped and found by hackers. That's again what makes the second one more appealing to me. So myself, I don't know where they can go, what else there's to do. I'm sure that you could probably do like a Snapchat thing, or like an Instagram. But they've done Skype. They've done Skype in both these movies, so they probably shouldn't touch on that one. Well, they will, but because that's how these movies work. But I just don't know what there is to do for this series, like apps and stuff wise. I feel like they've sort of done everything already in the two movies they've done, which maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I probably am, but to me, there's nothing else really to do. So I don't know what they can do. So that's where I think that for the third one, if they make one, they should sort of blend the two. Maybe they can have it be where maybe instead of just at the table or just at their desktop, people can be like just biking around town, just walking with their phones, live streaming something outside on the go, so that it can feel more terrifying. Like, the whole premise of being in your house, lights go off, murder, that's bad enough. Especially in the sequel where it's like a real life person killing. But when you're outside in public and you can still get killed, to me that's even worse, because you could have been saved. You're more likely to be saved when you're just walking on the streets and there's other people on those streets with you. But what I want to see is a blending of the paranoia, the supernatural, and the real things. I think maybe that the ending of the second one might have to do with a hacker, who might be figuring out how to blend the two. Maybe becoming like a computer virus of themselves, and it's like thus tying in hacking and being a supernatural being. But I don't really know exactly how that would work, but I think there's more that you can do with this series. I just don't know what, and I think something that would appeal to me would be to blend hacking and supernatural things. But other than that, that's all I really have to say. I know that this video is kind of dumb because most people probably think this series is dumb. I don't really, I don't hate it that much. Again, I said the second one's probably better than the first, but I still like and appreciate the first. Just real quick, the first one, for me, between a 5 or 6 out of 10, it wasn't like perfect, of course, but the sequel gets more of a 7, like low 7, high 6. The sequel more, again, it ranks higher for me because, again, it can happen more, and it's more scary because it can happen. But with that, I think we're done here. With that said, if whatever you listened here today, if that intrigues you, go see Unfriended Dark Web. see the first one, see one, see both. They're pretty good. They're all right. Or don't. It's whatever, you know. They're not like Get Out levels of like quality, but they're still good. But with that, I think we're done here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe for more. And as always, it's time for a recharge.
Do you walk in the Valley of Kings?